We'll give it a few minutes and we'll kick off shortly. Hallo, guten Tag, Sebastian. Really cool that we have partners from all over the world joining. Anyone else want to share where they're dialing in from? Another German. Vienna, Austria. Hi, Roland. Oh, Karlsruhe. Ontario. Hey, Melanie. And one sec, we're still waiting for a co-host Anthony to join. Here he is.
Oh, sorry, guys. It looks like I was stuck in the back room. I apologize for that.
We have everyone sharing right now, Anthony, where they're calling in from. It's
All
pretty
right,
cool. People
awesome.
from all over the world.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for joining the webinar today. We're excited to talk about the spring launch and give a wrap up of all the cool features that have come out. We'll go ahead and jump right in since we're a little bit behind and there's a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and join. My name is Anthony Granillo. I'm a product enablement manager here at Uberall. I will be one of your hosts along with Kevin Kalinowski. So, Kevin.
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm Kevin Kanowski. I'm the Director of Partner Enablement and Strategy. We're welcome to join our product managers here. So we have a lot of releases here for our partners in the spring release. And so with the team being so excited, we're here having them join for our first enablement session directly to kind of showcase the work that they've been doing.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so we have our product enablement team here, or our product team here. They're joining us, and they'll get to introduce themselves and showcase all their fun products that they have released. So jumping on in, just to let you guys know, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to utilize the chat or the questions feature. We will try to answer them at the end, and if we don't answer them within the webinar, we will get back to you for sure. We will be able to provide a recording of the webinar as well as the slides. So if you're interested in those, just let us know, and we're happy to share that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off and send this over to Andrea.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea. I'm the Group Product Manager here at Uberall and the Product Manager for what we call our listings team. So everything to do with the directories. And we're super excited today to announce the launch of our new SMB setup wizard. Anthony, I think you can go to the next screen. But we know many SMBs abandon the setup process when it's too complex or time consuming. And that's exactly what we're seeing in our platform, and the low completion rates then lead to churn before the client has experienced real value of the platform. So this was a major pain point, especially for our partners like yourselves and the DIY model where the clients need to onboard themselves. So that's why we're really excited to launch our completely revamped SMB setup wizard this spring. So previously, clients had to manually capture and enter all their business data themselves. It's a tedious process that many of them never actually completed. So we've automated this entirely. And instead of lengthy forms, clients are presented with smart options and tailored to their situations, as you can see a brief screenshot on the right. So they can import their locations directly from Google or Facebook accounts with just a few clicks. And if they don't have their credentials handy, they can simply search for their location online, because chances are it already exists on Google. And these options allow us to pull in all their business data into their location profile in seconds. So clients can review it quickly, make any needed updates, and get back to what matters most, actually managing their business. So by automating the process and getting SMBs into the platform quickly, they can then start responding to reviews, engaging with customers, and growing their presence immediately. So this dramatic decrease in the time that it takes for them to actually see value, we are confident will lead to happier clients and better retention. So I wanted to demo the feature for you. I'll just do a quick demo. I feel very brave. I'm doing a live demo, so bear with me, and I'm going to share my screen and just talk through a couple of things on the feature. Anthony and Kevin, can you see my screen?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, with the wizard and the picture on the right-hand side. Okay, cool. So firstly, like I said, you have different options. If they do actually have credentials, they can connect their Google business profile, and they can, or they can connect Facebook. Some of them have either. Then importantly, if they don't have credentials, which we obviously see quite a lot in the early stages, is they can search online. And then lastly, they can actually create it manually. So previously the wizard just had the create manual option. So we do have that as an option for them if they really want to use that. We don't expect many to see that. And then another thing just to point out, we've got an image here. The images aren't mandatory, and if you don't have images, then it won't show, and it'll just show this section. But there are 3 steps in this process. And what we've built is that you as resellers and partners can put images on the flow. Whether it's your branding, advertising something, you would just need to send those through to us, and we upload it in our platform, and then your clients can see that. So it's just an opportunity to use that space to advertise something. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to show you a few quick things. Obviously, connecting Google and Facebook is pretty standard. They'll see their locations within their account, and they can select them. And then if they want to create it manually, they can fill it in over here, or manually. We also do have the AI business descriptions, which Sophie will talk about next. So I won't take her limelight on that, but it is included in the wizard if as a reseller you have signed up for the AI side of the business. And then here I'm going to search for a restaurant that is close to me. You'll see where I live. And it finds it online. The client can turn click it. Sorry, and you will open up the actual location. And then what you can do, is continue, and then you'll see the image for the second step changes. So you can change the images. Like I said, there are 3 different steps. Then the client can edit the location, and they can come in and edit it. We pull in and show a certain subset of data here. The main, basically, name, address, and phone, obviously categories. What we do as well is if you want to change something, so you change the address to 16. We have this warning here that changing any address, business category name may unverify your listings on Google, so that they are aware of that and the risks. So we obviously don't prevent them from going forward, but we do show them that risk. And there's certain mandatory fields, otherwise the client can continue. I'm sorry, it's already on our platform. Give me 1 second. Sorry, this is what the problem with live demos. I'm going to choose a different location and check. Oh, thank goodness. I panicked for a second. So here they can edit it. They can actually sync the locations. We also tell them here that this is what they are doing during the setup, and afterwards this is what they can do. And we can skip or we can sync. So if we skip, they won't start the sync on the location, but otherwise they can actually sync it. And that means we're going to push it all to the directories, and it says, welcome to the platform, and they land on the home page, which allows them to get started with all their different items, and they can obviously go in and check the location there. So it's all pulled in, and we pull in as much data as possible. You can see opening hours, for example, are pulled in, although we didn't show them on the wizard because we're wanting them to onboard as quickly as possible. We do pull in as much data as we can. Great, that's all from me. Over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. And I know that's been a request we've had from some partners for some time. So it's our job to try to make it as easy for our partners and for their end customers. And that's what we're doing here with this new SMB setup wizard. Talk a little bit about kind of the buying personas and how to talk about the value. This one's really geared talking to the business owner. It's about that simplicity and efficiency. Or really, it's for your teams as well. You can go through and do some of these pieces on behalf of your clients. Instead of doing the manual approach before, you guys can be doing this on behalf of them as well. So it's not only a benefit for those end customers of yours, but it is for your teams as well. The main user personas we see for this is the DIY, do it yourself. So the location account managers, the business owners, or if they have a head of sales or digital marketing, SEO, the kind of the core person responsible for marketing at those organizations. When it talks about value proposition, we're talking about an effortless location expansion at scale. How can you get onto that platform as quickly as possible and start getting value? So minimize setup time with intelligent data auto completion. Don't have to manually add stuff. It's pulling in what's available and trying to, again, make your lives or your customers' lives as easy as possible. You're going to increase visibility across multiple business locations, and you can add new locations in minutes instead of hours and boost platform engagement. So that's key. How can you get that visibility up and start the engagement portion as quickly as possible? So when your teams are talking to their clients or prospects, some of those opportunity indicators can include a customer is struggling with location management. They think it's a complex and time-consuming setup process, and they're worried about the delayed time to value for new locations. And then to kind of wrap up for the SMB setup wizards, just some use cases. You can add new business locations quickly, complete location setup in one seamless session, begin engagement or engaging with customers immediately after setup, manage multiple locations with minimal effort, and leverage guided workflows to ensure complete and accurate location data. It also takes away that human error aspect that when you're typing stuff in, this is pulling to something that's been validated, was uploaded to Google. So let's make sure that any kind of mistakes are minimal. Over to the next slide.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Andrea. Super awesome feature. Hopefully it helps to make your guys' life easier. Now we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Sophie to talk about the AI listings profile description. So over to you, Sophie.
Hey, thank you. So I'm Sophie, Data Management for Location Hub PM. So everything related to locations is actually with me. And I will be introducing another very exciting AI feature. This one is focused on related to the business descriptions. The idea is pretty simple. We know that writing good descriptions can be tricky and time consuming. And that's why some locations end up with outdated descriptions or not descriptions at all. And having a strong and up-to-date descriptions has a really positive impact on the location. So what this tool does, it's actually help users to create easily compelling descriptions for the locations in a few clicks. Some benefits about it, and we will see a demo in a couple of minutes. It saves a lot of time. It's super easy to use. It doesn't require any writing skills. The content is optimized because we pull information like keywords, services, and categories to create actually these descriptions. And it also works with the bulk flow. So they can actually apply these descriptions for a lot of locations at once, which is a huge win for businesses with large networks. So overall, it helps users save time, boost their online visibility, and attract more clients. So that's the functionality in a nutshell. Now maybe we can see how it works. Anthony, if you help me with the demo. Excellent. So it's, as I was saying, it's super easy to use. You need to go to the business description part. Excellent. Just yes, it works both for short and long descriptions. We are going to use a long one. They just need to click the AI icon on the business description. Exactly. Enter a prompt and they will get a ready to use text. They can either accept it or regenerate it as many times as they want. I think it's taking some time. Excellent. Yeah, so really easy. We have also added another feature that it's called the tone adjuster. It's actually the icon right next to the AI one, that one, excellent. So when the description is generated, the users can change the tone and, for example, choose a inspirational one, exactly, and apply it to. Let's see if it works. Oops, what? It's taking some time. Maybe if you cancel and try again.
Just thinking about what's the best way to phrase it. There we go.
Cool. Yeah. So this is a fun one, and that's why it has emojis and all those things. They can choose whatever they need and just apply it, and exactly they will see it there. Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, the more complete the location information is, like with keyword services and categories, the better this result will be. So it's important to actually keep the complete location profile updated. And I think that's all. It's really quick, and that's all with me. I will pass it to Kevin.
Thanks so much. So ultimately, the goal of this feature is going to be to make it easier to attract more customers with this profile descriptions. The key buying personas we have here are the business owners and the head of marketing and digital marketing again. The user personas for the service models, you're going to have the DIY and the DIFM. So when it comes to the DIFM, you have your partners, your resellers, your agencies. How can it make your lives easier when you're trying to optimize how your customers are going to perform when it comes to local? And then with the DIY, it's going to be your location account manager, business owners, and then the heads of marketing again. And how can it make their lives easier so that they're going to do the most to optimize their profiles so that they can attract and get that engagement started. In terms of the value proposition here for DIY specifically, it's instantly generate engaging descriptions to help with their SEO and attract more clients to their business. And with minimal effort needed to frequently update descriptions, ensuring locations are fresh and updated often. So if you have something seasonality and you want to always kind of keep current throughout the year, it's very easy to go in at a single location or in bulk where you guys can be updating those profiles and business descriptions in a click of a button. That main opportunity indicators we think for this one is customer is struggling with business descriptions. And overall, we see that 30% of locations have at least one of the two fields incomplete. So there's no reason with these tools now that any of them really should be missing this key kind of component or field when it comes to local. And we're just making it easier for you. So the use cases we have here, new locations instantly create professional and engaging descriptions using AI. We have bulk updates where you can do multiple descriptions for multiple locations all at once. You have your seasonal changes and special dates, so you can tailor those descriptions for holidays or seasonal events to keep kind of the content relevant and engaging. And then you can always do a content refresh where you can rewrite incomplete or outdated descriptions to rank higher for your local search results. And then over to our next feature.
All right, awesome. Again, easy to use feature that I think people can really maximize and keeping their profiles fresh. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Cliff so you could talk about our Gray Label mobile app.
Perfect. Thanks, Anthony. Welcome, everyone. I'm Cliff Shapiro, product manager based in Montreal, Canada, and I look after our mobile app as well as our social posting module. And so I'm super excited about our mobile app, which we're transforming to have a gray label generic branding which is really going to be amazing. Your clients can go, customers can go download this location marketing app, log in, and once they log in, they will see your branding inside the application. And it's a really great tool for users who are on the go. They can, they're in their shop, they're in their store, they can quickly pull out their phone, respond to reviews, create social posts, use social post templates, and also take photos, update the location photos, and update some of the location information, such as the hours of operation or special hours. It's a really great tool, while they're on the go, while they're going about their day. And as well, it's a great sales opportunity to provide a branded mobile solution for location management. And I can go ahead right away. I've got a couple of features to show you as well on social. The next one being LinkedIn posting. If you go to the next slide, Anthony, we're super excited to announce that we're releasing the capability for customers to go in, create, schedule, and publish posts directly to their LinkedIn company pages. And this works directly within our existing workflow. So you can post to Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, all within one shot, all within the same, the same couple of clicks. And this leverages all of our templates, our AI functionality, and approval workflow. And it's a really great, really great tool, really great opportunity for customers to let their customers know what's going on with their business on LinkedIn. And the next feature is one that we love, one of my favorites, the AI Social Writer, which we've spoken about before. That really helps customers, streamline their workflows, spark creativity, and really create pieces of engaging content that is on brand really quickly. And if you go to the next slide, Anthony, what we've done with the AI Social Writer is now made it available via API. So your platform users, if you have your own platform that's leveraging our API capabilities for social, you can now use the AI Social Writer. So just a quick reminder, our AI learns from the previous posts that you've created, and so it's really making sure that the suggestions, the content that it's providing to you is really on brand, really aligned with your tone, and it's supposed to really make the social post publishing, content creation really effortless and really super simple. And that is everything I wanted to talk about on the mobile app and our social capabilities.
Awesome. Thank you, Cliff. Some great features there. I know API was one of the questions that we did have. So we do have features that are coming out via API after following up after the initial release on the front end. So hope to get more information for you. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Riley to talk about surveys.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm Riley Prada. I manage the review management module within Uberall. I'm happy to talk to you about our new feature, which is surveys. For a lot of customers, they respond to reviews. They use the inbox to respond to reviews, look at reviews. It gives them a lot of insight into what customers are thinking, they're saying about their brand. But this surveys tool gives them that next step into the insights. It lets them create a survey, it lets them manage templates, share the survey, and get the insights from customers about what they're actually thinking about their brand, about their business. So instead of talking about it, I can just demo it and we can walk through it together. I'll just share my screen here. All right. You guys should be able to see this. Let me know if you can. Let me know if you can't.
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. Great. Okay. So within the review management module, a lot of customers are familiar with the inbox, and you'll see down here we have surveys now in beta. So this is the overview screen. So you'll see published surveys, you'll see unpublished surveys. Those are our two states, and these are kind of the list of surveys that have been created. Super simple. You just hit here for a new survey. We've given some preset templates. You can always choose custom, but there's also an NPS template. There's a product feedback, there's customer satisfaction template, and these will pre-fill some options for you that can still be customized, but they're just preset templates right off the bat. So for time's sake, I'll select the NPS templates. It'll populate some preset questions in here. Now, there is a lot of options within the surveys, tons of questions customers can ask. You can even use it as a review gen operation. So you can put in the link to your business with a request for review at the end of the survey if you'd like. So that's another use case for it. We can just give it a description here. my first survey, and then we'll give it maybe we'll change the title. We'll go first MPS survey. So here are all the options on a scale of 1 to 10. How likely are you to recommend a product to a friend or colleague? This will then drop down. There is a condition within here that's set, and if it's a higher ranking NPS score, it'll conditionally show one of these, and then conversely, if it's lower or medium, it'll show. And instead of walking through that, I can just show you what it'll look like here. So this is kind of at the end what it looks like. So the customer will be able to select an option. There's a drop down, and then the conditions within here. There's tons of options within, as I mentioned, the editor. You can add expressions, custom code if you want. Like I said, there's also logic built in that you can edit within here. Super robust tool. Any use case you'd want, you can use it for that. And I'll go ahead and publish it just to show you what it looks like here. So I'll hit publish. You can turn on and off responses and then set a custom state if you'd like, saying the survey is no longer accepting responses, but we want it to publish. So right now we'll publish. It'll do its magic, and then I'll show you one here while that's publishing, where we'll copy the URL and we'll go see what it looks like, which is a similar NPS. So this is what the end customer will see. And we actually added a separate domain, which is request-survey.com. So it's not branded as Uber at all. It's generic. So the end customer, it's not associated with us. So for the end customer, they can come here, they can select an option, they'll give a result, what can make it more satisfying, call it support. And then, as I mentioned, the conditions are built in to show different options. So they'll complete that. Thanks for the feedback. And then the results. So customers can view and analyze all the results they'd like within the results tab. This one was an NPS, so it gives you the NPS score, shows the promoters, passive, detractors. And you can also change the chart type of any of these. Super robust analytics. You can see what the answers were, performance, stability, user interface. And we can even change it to like maybe a pie graph, a donut, whatever the end customer would like to use. And then there's word clouds showing you a little bit more insights into what was exactly said about the business. Was it the support, documentation, efficiency that wasn't good with the experience? Very robust, lots of features for the end customer. If you have any questions about it, put it in the chat or let me know, and then I'll pass it back so we can continue on to the next one.
All right, and I still think it's with you, Riley, for the saved default filters.
Perfect. You are right. And if you want to go to the next slide, I think there's a little overview. I'll go to that first. And then, of course, I'll do a little demo because those are more fun.
Awesome. Can you guys see my screen okay? It looks like we're showcasing the slide.
Yeah, I see the custom default filters page.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay, so the custom default filters. This has been largely requested for a while. The inbox, by default, for the longest time, we set some filters for customers. So the default for the longest time was unresolved, unreplied, last 30 days of reviews. And this was good for most customers, but it wasn't great for all customers. So a lot of customers wanted a little bit more customization with their filters. They wanted to set their own view of what they want in the inbox of settings. And so they can come to it and it can filter right off the bat, whatever they have the preset for. So we've changed it so that any customer can set any default filter they want. They have full customization on that. They don't have to use our default filters. Now it does at first default to our filters, but then they can go and change them to whatever they like, whatever suits their preference. Whatever that may be, giving them full customization on what the default filters on the inbox are. And I can show you how that kind of works. It's fairly straightforward. So I'll just take over the screen once again. And this time we'll leave and we'll go to the inbox instead of the surveys. So within the inbox, we actually already have one set here. So right here we have US default filter. It's starred so customers know that it's the default filter. And how you would actually do that is you would, I'll just clear all these. You would come into the filters. You would select what you want. Maybe you would typically want to look at the 3, 4, 5 stars of maybe unresolved, unanswered. And maybe typically you're looking at reviews with text. So we'll hit save filter. And within the save filter, we'll go my default filter. We'll just give it a name. As always, you can subscribe to the email, share it. But then here we have a new one, which is the save as default filter. So by selecting that and you save it, whenever you come back to the inbox, the customer comes back to the inbox, the default filter will always be applied. That's their new default filter. They can always recustomize it if they want, but it's essentially theirs to play with, giving them a lot more flexibility. So you don't have to use our filters anymore. Customers can set their own. They have full freedom to do that. So largely requested feature. Any more questions, let me know in the Q&A. But yeah, happy to pass it back. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Riley. And I want to give you a 10 out of 10 on your survey for all the cool features you're bringing. With that, we're going to go ahead and move over to the platform usability enhancements with Isabel. So Isabel, over to you.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I am a product manager at Uberall, focused on the platform experience in general. So the two things that I'm going to show today is just some of the overall platform usability changes that we've done. There's going to be two sections that I'll share today. Firstly, in the bulk edit, and then second in suggestions as well. So the first one is regarding our bulk edit changes. So what we wanted to really solve for was firstly a streamlined workflow. When you use the bulk edit in the past, it was a very cumbersome process. So what we've done is to eliminate the separate location selection step and integrate it directly into the editing process as well. We wanted to reduce the amount of manual effort, because if you're using the bulk edit changes, I'm sure that you want to just reduce the amount of work that's being done. And as a result of that, we want to help you also automatically populate those pre-selected locations to minimize that repetitive input as well. Last but not least, of course, like the main reason why we are making these changes is to improve the usability of the feature in itself. So we want to make sure that we're positioning the actions in the right way, as well as prompting users to save any unsaved changes if they forget to save those changes, to ensure that work is not accidentally discarded as well. So hopefully this will increase the efficiency of using the bulk edit features. This will reduce the amount of errors that customers face when using this feature, as well as increasing, of course, the user satisfaction of using that interface, so that it's a little bit more of a forgiving interface that leads to a more positive user experience. So with that in mind, I will do a live demo for that. This was already released on May 13th. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, so when you're on the location list, let me just move this bar away. Okay, so if you're in the location list page, what we have done firstly is to enable the ability to select some of the locations if you wanted to, or you can select all of the locations, and that should carry over into the bulk editor. So as you can see over here, basically I have selected all of the locations, and that has carried over the active or canceled locations that were selected. Not only that, we've made it a little bit more usable by, if I were to type, I don't know, like a ad, and in the past, this would fall right under each of the fields and default to overwrite existing. We want to reduce the amount of errors that happens with that. So we have defaulted it to add to existing instead of overwriting the existing fields as well. Last but not least, you'll see that in this field over here, it used to be 3 steps. We have converged it into 2 steps. So it was just a lot easier to do your work in just one view over here. Also, as mentioned about the unsaved changes, if I were to make a bunch of changes over here and I forget to save and I click either out of the page or I refresh, I should have a modal that basically prompts me to save those changes or go back to make sure those changes are saved as well. So that is the bulk editor, and yeah, it's released already if you want to take a look and play around with it in the platform. So then I'll go, Anthony, to the next slide of what we are going to be showing.
All right, hopefully you guys can see the suggestions changes slide. Let me know if you can't.
Don't think I can yet, but
I know it takes a moment, so let's see. I am sharing. Let's see. Maybe Kevin, if you can chime in, see if you can see it on your side.
Yeah, the suggestion changes is what I'm seeing with the image rotating.
Maybe, I don't know, Isabel, if you're still sharing your screen as well. But yeah, we're showcasing the slide here. I don't know if you
Oh, got
want
it.
to talk through
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Figuring out Zoom as we go. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. Okay, so now I see the slides now, suggestions. So this is personally, honestly, one of the changes that I'm personally very excited for. What we have in suggestions right now is a very outdated, clunky interface, and what we're doing is a refresh on that. So helping our users to have a clear, flexible, powerful way to review, accept, or reject their profile suggestions, and then that should help with the increased ability to then have an accurate and complete location and field. So what we're doing with this change specifically is to simplify the navigation, provide a little bit more clarity of what actions lead to what outcomes, having a little bit more of efficiency when it comes to bulk management of those suggestions as well. And then also we're introducing some confirmation modals so that we can have a lot more of a clear summary of those changes after they have clicked on accept, reject, so that it prevents also any unintended updates as well. We've also organized a little bit of how suggestions are displayed, and hopefully this will increase not only the profile completeness of your customers, it should reduce the amount of user frustrations. I know, for example, that a lot of feedback that we've gotten is that suggestions is a very powerful feature that we have, but because it's so clunky, not a lot of people like to use it. So as a result of that, I hope that as we release this in July, it will bring a lot more of an easier experience to update people's locations profile. So with that, I'm going to demo, and I'm going to today demo a prototype because a lot of the work is still in development as we speak, but I wanted to give you all an update before we start releasing these changes live as well. So with that, I'm going to share my screen this time. All right, so what we're going to see in suggestions are going to be two types of suggestions. There is going to be at the location level, and then there's going to be an overview across all locations as well. If a location does not have suggestions, what they will see is basically an empty state with maybe a banner that shows what locations are, just to reduce the confusion there. They can also go at the locations level, and what should happen is they should be able to see on a tooltip of which directories are recommending these changes in the suggestions as well. They can then either accept all or reject all in that specific location, or they can accept and reject per field, per suggestion as well. What we are going to do then is after they have accepted or rejected, it is not the end of it. What they can do is then click confirm updates. And when they have confirmed updates, they should see a list of all the suggestions that were accepted and all the suggestions that were rejected. This is going to be on the location level. What else they can do is that they can go into our suggestions tab that should give them an overview of all locations that they have. In the suggestions tab, they can do similar workflow, which is basically accepting or rejecting at the location level, accept all and reject all at the location level. But we've also heard from customers that, hey, I have hundreds of locations and I don't actually care about these suggestions. So what we've also implemented is a way to reject all locations, and when they click on that, they should have a confirmation modal that shows if they are going to be rejecting those updates in the 116 fields that they have. They can either reject all updates or basically canceled, and then that should clear up all of the suggestions that they get here. What they can do also is have a better way to search for that specific location within that entire locations view, so that hopefully it'll be a lot easier to wayfind through all of the suggestions that they have. And this should be out in July, so stay tuned for that update. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Isabel. Always love some good usability enhancements. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on into some homepage updates. So we're looking at homepage 2.1, an incremental update that changes the kind of appearance and experience when utilizing the homepage. So a lot of it still functions the same, but we wanted to make it easier as well. So think of this as usability enhancements for the homepage. So the first thing that I wanted to kind of talk about here in this case is that we've improved the filter experience. Typically on the homepage, you find them on the top right-hand side. They were a little bit difficult to discover and to utilize. So what we've done is kind of stretched out the filter bar, which we'll see at the top, and I'll go through this in a demo. But essentially making it easier for you to navigate the filters, apply the filters that you want, which affects the data that we see within the homepage. So that's the first update. The second part of that is to reduce the overwhelming pending tasks. So if you have looked at the homepage and you see that there is a big list of things to do, or for your SMBs, if there's a big list of things for them to do, it gets a little bit overwhelming, especially if there's multiple locations. And so what we wanted to do was to group those similar tasks together to make it a little bit more digestible. And again, I'll show you what that looks like. But again, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of accomplish and take on those tasks, which would then improve either their visibility pillar, their engagement pillar, or the reputation one as well. So again, we just want to make it as easy as possible to navigate the homepage and make it more user-friendly. That way we can increase those the performance in the different LPS scores. The last one is a simplified LPS score understanding. So we've consolidated a little bit of those graphs that we saw initially. There was a lot of progress bars that we've previously had on the homepage. So now with that, we've consolidated that into 3 just specific pillars and lets you know exactly where you're at in those different pillars and then what that pillar measures. So those are kind of the big key changes with that. Again, the expected impact here is that everyone or users will be able to complete more tasks, which will then increase their visibility, their reputation, or their engagement, which should then help with their performance in SEO, and then also just increase engagement overall in utilizing the homepage. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what the new homepage looks like. As I mentioned, we have the new filter bar here at the top, and you can filter by location, business, groups, or labels. And all you need to do is select either from the drop down, or you can enter in the different information. So you're able to select here as much as you need to. And then if there's multiple selections, you can kind of see it, or it's a little bit easier to define that in here. As we move down, I mentioned that the LPS, or the location performance score, has changed. So no longer do we have those different types of progress bars. It's more simplified to make it more digestible as well. And we could see the different pillars here, and they are now clickable. So what that does is it affects the actual key tasks that associate with the different pillars. So when we look at visibility score, for example, we could see that we're looking at the visibility score key tasks. And we're grouping those key tasks together. So that way you're not seeing, in this case, 36 different notifications for reviewing and updating required fields in Trustpilot. So we're grouping them together to make it a lot easier to, again, digest as needed. And then we can always load more tasks if we are ready to tackle more. So that's kind of the big changes there. If I move on to like engagement, for example, the key tasks, or the key tasks are going to change to what's associated with that particular pillar. And if there happens to be different organizations or categories for that, you'll also see that broken down as well. So for example, in the engagement score, we do see that the first section is talking about social posts specifically. So we should be creating new social posts for these locations. But then also if we have any messages that we need to reply to, so these would be like direct messages on Facebook or web chat, for example, those would be listed here, and it's categorized in a way that's easier to kind of digest and define. So those are the big key changes. I did want to kind of note here on the right-hand side that we do have a little bit of a difference in the performance score ranking by location. We can see the top performing locations and the bottom performing locations. So just by selecting this, and it makes it a little bit easier to decide which locations we want to kind of focus our efforts on. And then once we actually click into that, we can actually see what key task or anything that they need to accomplish where they're struggling a little bit. So like in this case, it would be the visibility score for that location that we would want to focus on. So just wanted to go over those key features, key changes with the homepage as they've been changed. All right. So with that, I'm going to actually pass this back to Andrea because we have a sneak peek, which will be coming in the next releases. So this is for the Google import.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Anthony. So I'm super excited. Oh, sorry. Do you want to share just that screen and then I'll demo after you? Thanks.
Yeah, that was my bad.
Cool. So I'm super excited about this. Alongside the SMB setup with it, this is one of the projects that I've been wanting to do for some time. And it's all about how we get locations into Uberall as quickly and as seamlessly as possible. So we are transforming this process. Some of you may use the Google import. It was previously built for sort of a once-off use of the implementation, and we're going to change that around. So basically, I think it'll have a bigger impact on partners, onboarding locations all the time from your Google account. The idea is that we're going to make it so you can do that import over and over again, whether it's 5 times a day or 5 times a week, or more. Also, there were previously some issues with the current import. If your account is very big, it didn't work as well. So we're solving those issues, and basically, if the account or the location already exists on Google, we're wanting you to import it as quickly as possible, be able to create that business for your client, one location at a time within a minute, and that's what we're aiming for. So I'll share my screen now and take you through a prototype. Like I said, it's currently in development. And sorry, I was looking for the share button. Cool. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
We can.
Okay, brilliant. So this is just how we are envisioning as well. If you'd have no locations, you will see coming into the location hub more sort of contextual updates instead of brief menus. We're going to have modals that explain more about Google Excel adding manually. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to come here to the Google import. And like I said, you can start a new Google import or sign up. This is obviously showing if you've never done it before, and you are auth with your account. And then you can see currently all your location groups in your account. So we pull back the number of accounts. You can obviously search for a specific group if you've got a lot, or paginate through them. Select multiple accounts if you want, or just one, and then go into locations. So one thing we're going to pull back is, and show is if the location's verified, or if it's suspended, or if it's a duplicate, so you can make sure you're pulling in the correct location. And here, if you've selected 3 groups to pull from, then it'll show 3. You can go through each group and decide which ones you want to import. We are also going to check if you've imported it before in your sales partner. So just a way to make sure we don't get duplicates within the account. So you could go and see which ones haven't been imported to essentially import them. And then you select the locations, and then you come for importing. So at the moment, the flow does automatically create businesses for you. So here we're going to bring in the flexibility that you can import it into an existing business or create a new business. If you are going to select an existing business, you can drop down and select the businesses that you want to, or a business, sorry, that you're wanting to import into. Or if you want to create a new business, you can either put all the locations in one business, like we said, with you're pulling in many groups, so you can decide to put them all in one business, or each group into its own business, and it's basically a lot more flexibility. So if you are only importing from one group, then you wouldn't get this option, and we assume it's one business, and you can add the business and customize the business on the fly here. Like I said, so if you want to do each group into its own business, you can set the business and you can create the business per group. We can also say whether or not you want to make a business level connection or a listing level connection and the benefits of those different connections. It's all just about flexibility and easily choosing the different options that you have. So if I was to make a business level connection on 3 different businesses, it connects to those location groups, so that if you add a new business within that business on add a new location within that business on Uberall, we would automatically create it in that location group on Google. And then lastly, sort of review and import before you actually import it and sync. When you import and sync, it's going to create the new businesses that you've set to create, and then it'll create the locations within those businesses. It will also connect those listings. So, either a business level connection or listing level connection. So once you're done here in these very short 4 steps, that location will be imported into Google in its new business and connected to Google. Here we're going to put in on Location Hub, basically a progress bar, so you can carry on with your work, but you can see the import. If you're only importing 1 location, it's going to be very, very quick, but if you're importing 5,000 locations, it's going to take a couple of minutes, obviously, to show. And then lastly, you have a history of your imports, the status of the import, who imported it, as well as failed locations, which you can download again or download the error report, so you can see what actually went wrong. And also you could download on here the status of what was actually imported. So flexibility to do that, and once it's in progress, it'll also update you once it's done. So we are trying to make sure this can be used, like I said, over and over again. We're also going to make it available to not just admins, but business managers and account managers, those clients that can actually add new locations. They can also use this functionality. So we're really excited, and this is currently in dev, so we're hoping to launch it in Q3, and we'll let you know as soon as it is ready.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea. All right. So that wraps up all the awesome features for the spring release, including a sneak peek for an upcoming release that will be here. For the features that will be available and ready to go, they will be available on June 16th. Anything that is beta, of course, will need to be signed up for. And then, as Isabel mentioned, some of those features will be coming out on July 1st. So those will be coming soon. We did have a couple of questions. It looks like they were answered in chat. I know that there was one regarding the homepage and if it's going to be available via API. I don't have that answer for you right now, so we will need to sync back with you on the availability of that. But if there's any additional questions, feel free again to add them into the Q&A or into the chat, and we're happy to answer them.
Now, wasn't that quite a perk having the product team here directly to answer all those questions? I've never seen Q&A get answered so quickly. So thank you, team, for joining us today on that. While you guys are thinking of any last minute questions, I do want to do a little informal survey with you guys. One thing that we were throwing out was the idea of doing like an unofficial office hour with our product team, where you can come and just ask questions with our product team, give your feedback, learn more about what they're working on, and hear what you're working on. Would that be something you would be interested in attending? If so, could you just say yes or no in the chat? I know I don't have a little poll or anything official, but just figured I would ask to see if I could get some responses since you did so well with where you're located and calling in from. We're getting a couple of yes, people are liking it. Thank you guys for submitting or responding. I appreciate that.
All right. I don't think I'm seeing any additional questions coming in. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your partner manager. We're always happy to answer them. We can't send you the recording. We can send you the presentation as well. But I do want to thank you guys for joining the session today and hanging out with us. Thank you to the product team for going over all these cool features. And thank you as well, Kevin, for joining in and talking about the value propositions and everything. So again, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and week.